For a long time, the idea of buying a new car felt unreal to them. Not impossible, just always postponed. There were other priorities: rent, repairs, school expenses, unexpected bills that appeared exactly when plans started to feel stable. Their old car still worked, most days. It made strange noises. The heater only cooperated when it wanted to, and the trunk had to be closed in a very specific way. But it carried them through years of ordinary life, and that counted for something. The decision to buy a new car didn't come suddenly. It arrived quietly, through conversations at the kitchen table late in the evening, through calculations written on scraps of paper, through moments when they realized how much their life had changed. Kids growing older, weekends planned further away, trips that felt possible now. The car wasn't about status. It was about comfort, safety, and the feeling of moving forward together. The day they went to the dealership felt strangely emotional. The kids ran between cars, touching door handles, climbing into seats, laughing at how everything smelled new. She focused on details: mirrors, storage, color. He asked practical questions, nodding, imagining long drives and early mornings. When they finally sat together inside one car, doors closed, the outside noise faded. For a moment, no one spoke. It felt right in a way that didn't need explanation. Signing the papers was both exciting and terrifying. Numbers looked bigger than they expected, even though they were prepared. Pens felt heavier in their hands. But when the keys were placed on the desk, something shifted. This wasn't just a financial decision. It was a shared commitment to take care of something new, to trust their choices, to allow themselves something they had worked hard for. Driving home in the new car felt unreal. The ride was smooth, quiet, almost too calm. The kids argued over seats. Music sounded better than usual. She kept touching the dashboard like it might disappear. He smiled more than he realized, hands steady on the wheel. The old car followed them home one last time in memory, already becoming a story they would tell later. Over the next weeks, the car blended into their life. School runs felt easier. Long drives felt less tiring. Small trips turned into spontaneous adventures. The car didn't solve problems or change who they were, but it gave their days a different rhythm, a sense of ease they hadn't known they were missing. One evening, parked in the driveway, lights off, engine quiet, they sat inside for a moment before going in. One of the kids said it felt like a new chapter car. They laughed, but the word stayed. Because that's what it was. Not a symbol of success, not a trophy, just a sign that they were building something stable, step by step. The car became part of their family story. Scratches would appear. Seats would get messy. Life would leave its marks. And that was fine. Because the most important thing wasn't how new it was, but how many moments it would carry. And every time they drove together, they were reminded that progress doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes, it looks like 4 seats, a full tank, and a family ready to go wherever the road allows. As the months passed, the car slowly stopped feeling new and started feeling like theirs. The perfect smell faded, replaced by the familiar mix of snacks, jackets, and everyday life. The kids left fingerprints on the windows. A small scratch appeared near the door from a tight parking spot. Instead of frustration, there was acceptance. These were signs of use, of movement, of a life actually being lived instead of carefully preserved. They began taking trips they had once talked about, but never planned seriously. Short weekend drives at first, nearby lakes, small towns, places that didn't require much preparation. The car made those decisions easier. Less stress about breaking down. Less calculating whether it was worth it. They could just go. Those trips weren't extraordinary, but they became anchors in their memory. Music playing softly. Quiet conversations. The kids falling asleep in the back seat as the road stretched ahead. There were moments when the responsibility felt heavy. Insurance payments. Maintenance reminders. The awareness that this was something they now had to protect. But even that carried a sense of pride. They weren't rushing anymore. They were choosing carefully. The car represented that shift, from surviving month to planning a little further ahead. One evening, after a long day, they sat in the driveway again, engine off, lights dim. Rain tapped gently on the roof. No one was in a hurry to go inside. He mentioned how strange it felt to remember a time when this would have seemed impossible. She nodded, thinking about how many small decisions had led them here. None of them dramatic on their own, but together they had built something solid. The car didn't change who they were. It didn't erase worries or guarantee an easy future. but it carried proof of effort, of patience, of growth that happened quietly, without applause. And every time they drove somewhere together, even just to the store, it reminded them that progress isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes, it's just a family in a car, moving forward, trusting the road a little more than they used to.